Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Volleyball. On Saturday night, we have a fantastic champion, Jose PEDRZAZA, who's seeking the gentleman who is with us right now, Javier Molina.
As the underdog. I feel like one day when I go in the ring, I'll be the favorite. But so now I'm okay being the underdog. I feel like I'm gonna prove a lot of people wrong, and I'm gonna surprise a lot of people come Saturday.
In 2008, when you were an Olympian, I mean, can you talk about what's it like facing a guy who was with you at the Olympics in Beijing in PEDRZAZA, and a guy who just 2 years ago, when you're working at a warehouse in Southern California, you were watching fighting in an ESPN main event against Vasily Lomachenko?
Yeah, man. I've actually known PEDRZAZA since 2007. Like, the first time I seen him was in the World Championships when he was fighting for Puerto Rico for the USA team, and the World Championship in Chicago. So that's the first time I seen him. I never thought I was gonna fight him. Like you said, I seen him 2 years ago when I was working. I was driving my Barrett around, packing these boxes up, and I was watching on my phone when he was fighting Lomachenko. So now, fast forward 2 years later, and I'm over here headlining the card. I mean, but I feel all this is happening right now just because all the changes I made with my life, my lifestyle, just coming down to the way I should have been fighting a long time ago. I was fighting at 147. My last loss when I fought Jamal James. Now my last 5 fights I've had at 140, which I feel great. I'm training with my old coach from the amateurs, so I've had my last 3 fights with them, and I feel like the discipline level and my lifestyle just completely changed, and that's the reason I'm where I'm at today. I know a lot of people are surprised; they just think I came out of nowhere, but I mean, I went through a lot these past few years, but right now I feel like everything's paying off. It wasn't easy for me; it was a tough road, but at the end of the day, it's all worth it. I feel like when I win that world title, it's gonna feel that much greater.
Just a reminder, everybody who wants to ask a question, please use the raise hand button on your Zoom, or if you cannot find it, you can privately message me. Do not send the message to everyone, and I will get to you. So we have our first question here. Our correspondent of Southern California from Fight News, Miguel Maravilla. Miguel, go ahead when ready.
Hey, what's up, Javier? First of all, man, talk about this preparation. You mentioned, you've been working with Robert now, and give me a little bit on your last your last fight, your victory.
Against the Mirror Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been working with Robert my last 3 fights already. Robert Luna. And against the Mirror Mom, we knew he was a tough fighter. He had fought Jose Ramirez for the world title. He came a little short, but he was a hungry fighter. He came with everything. He was aggressive. He's tall. He was a strong fighter, lanky. So we knew it wasn't going to be easy, but we had the game plan to just outbox him, and that's what we did. We won a unanimous decision, and now I'm here. So I got a bigger fight with PEDRZAZA.
You were an Olympian, then you hit a few bumps. You had a few defeats early on in your career. Then you had your you went on a 2-year hiatus. What did you do in those 2 years, and what did you have the time to reflect? What was it that made you change?
It was a lot. It was tough. I had gone like 2.5 years without fighting, so it was definitely tough times. And then ended up getting a fight. Golden Boy got me a fight, and then after that, I thought I was gonna stay active, but I took another year without fighting. So in between that time, I got a job at Smart and Final at the warehouse, and my whole life changed right there. I couldn't go to the gym like I wanted to. I was working graveyard shifts, so I'll go in like at 7:30 at night, and then sometimes come out at 8 in the morning. So I really sleep all day. I'll wake up and I have to go to work again. I only had Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, so I was even working weekends like almost every day. So it was definitely tough, but I just wasn't satisfied with where my career left off. And I knew I had a lot to give, and if I just had the opportunity. So because there was a couple times where I kind of questioned if I was gonna continue fighting. I had a family I needed to provide for. I have a little girl. She's 5 years old now. So I mean, it was definitely tough times, but at the end of the day, I feel like I put myself in that position. I had opportunities to make, but to make things happen in the sport, but my own discipline, and it was completely my fault. So I had to man up and do what was right. I started working graveyard shift. Had to pay some bills. So I mean, but at the end of the day, it's all worth it. I look back now, I'm like, man, never again do I want to work at that warehouse. I have respect for all those warehouse workers. It's nothing easy, man. When I was there, my whole life was just warehouse, and it was just a low time for me in my life. I just felt like I had so much to give in the sport, but I just couldn't, and I just felt like I was fully responsible for it because of my actions.
Thank you, Miguel. And next we go to our good friend Ernesto Amador. Ernesto, please go ahead.
Hello, Javier Bayones. You speak Spanish too?
Sí, hablo español.
Okay, let's go in Spanish, Ivan.
And just a heads up, with anybody who asks a question in Spanish, Gardy Lopez will be here to translate, so he will do the translation in English. So just give Gardy some time after you ask your question in Spanish. Thank you.
No worries, Mr. Ivan. There you go. Okay, Javier, no sé si te has dado cuenta de que es una oportunidad enorme de poner tu nombre a nivel mundial en los mejores de las 140. Vas ante un ex campeón, enfrentaste a uno antes y lo de Okada. O sea, vienes de un momento muy importante, pero esta puede ser una pelea muy importante para tu carrera. ¿Qué opinas de esto?
No, claro que sí.
Hay que esperar a Gardy.
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so you have a good opportunity in front of you. You demonstrated that against Okada, against MM, but you have a even bigger opportunity now in front of you. What do you think about that?
No, claro que sí. Pedraza es un gran peleador, sabe cómo cambiar de guardia, usar el cuadrilátero. Sabemos lo que tiene que hacer y tiene mucha experiencia. Ya 2 veces campeón. Así que ganándole a Pedraza, siento que me pone ahí una buena posición para pelear por un título. Le acabo de ganar a Imam, que ya peleó por un título. Le paré a Okada en el primero, que estaba rankeado como 5 o 3 o algo en varios títulos. Así que ganando la Pedraza, pienso que merezco una oportunidad para pelear por un título.
This is a big opportunity for me. Like I have been demonstrating in my last couple of fights. I know that by winning against Pedraza will put me in position to fight for a world title. So, like I said, I've been showing good performances in my last couple of fights against Okada and against Eman, and I'm planning on doing the same on Saturday because I know that a win will get me closer to a world title fight.
Te dicen al intocable. ¿Piensas ser intocable para Pedraza?
Sí, pues.
They call you the untouchable. Are you planning on being untouchable against Pedraza?
Pues sí, siento que él tiene su ritmo de la pelea, puede pelear él adentro y usar su distancia, así que siento que yo me puedo adaptar a cualquier estilo que haga, así que si tengo que fajarme, lo voy a hacer, y si tengo que contragolpear, es lo que voy a hacer, depende de cómo vaya la pelea.
I believe that Pedraza has a good opponent that I can adjust to it. I'm ready for whatever he brings in the ring. If I have to battle and go toe to toe with him, I will do it. But if I have to box and move around the ring, I'm able to do that too.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. Next, we go to Carlos Toro. Carlos, you're unmuted. Please go ahead.
Hi, Javier. Thanks so much for taking time to talk to us. First of all, have you had a chance to sort of check out Jose Pedraza's fights in the bubble? I know he's had the fight against Mick Pierre where he looked pretty good in that 10-rounder. You sort of had a chance to check that fight out and see how Pedraza has looked so far?
Yeah, well, we've actually been watching him a lot during my whole camp, but not so much the Pierre. We've seen a few times the Pierre, but I just feel like Pierre's style is completely different from mine. He's a little more flat-footed. He looked good against Pierre. He did what he had to do, won clearly, but we're looking more like guys like a Cepeda when he fought Lomachenko, or different styles. I mean, he has similar rhythm to the fights, but yeah, we've been studying all his fights.
How different has this training camp been for you in terms of preparation and sort of dealing with all the COVID guidelines and everything? Has sparring been an issue with trying to find people to spar and prepare for this fight?
No, it actually hasn't. We're all right there in LA where there's gyms everywhere, there's sparring partners everywhere. But thankfully for us, the gym that we originally trained at was closed, but we had somebody else that had a gym, so we rented it out. It was a back house. So training camp went smooth. We had no problems, and we're happy with how our training camp went.
Thank you very much, Carlos. And now we move ahead to J.R. Bell. J.R., go ahead, please.
Greetings there, Javier. In the introduction, you were talking about your transition from 147 to 140 and how you've been able to perform well at 140. Like, could you talk about like how comfortable you were after you cut down that weight and then you had those first couple of fights at 140?
Yeah, man, I feel like it's been a big difference. And fighting at 140, 147, I just had that extra weight on me. And the reason I was fighting at 47 was because I would be back then. I would be walking around like 170 something. So I never even thought about going down to 140. But it wasn't until I really started taking it serious and started taking care of myself. That's when I started dropping. When I was walking around like 152, 153, I was like, man, I think I can make 140. So then what we actually did before, because it was the last time I had made 140 was in the Olympic Games 2008. So what we did, me and my coach, we set up a sparring on a Saturday, and we waited on Friday like if it was a fight. So then we dropped down to 140. The next day we did a sparring, eight or 10 rounds, just to see how my body was gonna feel at 140, and I felt great. So we just stayed. We started campaigning at that weight, and we're here now.
Now, seeing that, Pedraza had his win over Mikel Pierre over in the bubble in his last performance, he was 2-2 in his last couple of fights. So he's kind of like been up and down. So how do you like go off of your momentum of your win against Samir Imam to go forward with this fight against Pedraza? Yeah,
well, I mean, he lost to Cepeda 2 fights ago. Cepeda's a good fighter. He looked great against Pierre. He came back strong, but I'm expecting the best Pedraza. I know they say sometimes he comes to fight, sometimes he's not himself, but I'm expecting the best. And I feel like I have the ball, I have the momentum, like you said. I'm going the right direction, and we just keep moving. We just keep moving forward, even though I see a lot of people counting me out. At the end of the day, the only ones that count is my team and myself. We believe in ourselves. We're coming to the fight confident, and we believe we can win. And we are going to win.
Thank you very much, JR. And next we go to Ricardo Torres from Telemundo, Puerto Rico. Reminder to Ricardo and Javier, just please let Gardy translate into English after you ask a question, and then after you answer, Javier. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. I have 2 questions, Javier. La primera pregunta sería en el sentido de que tú empezaste hablando de que no has podido mostrar todo tu potencial hasta el presente y que por eso quizás te menosprecian. ¿Entiendes que en 140 sí estás en el lugar donde quieres estar y tienes la división perfecta para mostrar tu talento?
Some people have took you for less of a fighter in to other stuff that you have shown before. Do you think that at 140 you have the right division to show your real talent?
Sí, yo siento que en este peso, este es mi peso, me siento fuerte, rápido, así que siento que 147 era muy, muy pesado para mí, más era la disciplina que me causó pelear en ese peso, pero ahorita me siento fuerte y siento que en cada pelea sigo aprendiendo más y más, así que pelea por pelea siento que me voy a estar mejorando y va a ver el público cómo voy a mejorar esta pelea.
I feel great in this weight, I feel strong, I feel fast. The only reason I was fighting at 147 was because I had some discipline issues, but now this is all behind me. I feel great, like I said, in 140. And fight by fight, I'm going to keep looking better and better, and people are going to watch that on Saturday.
My other question, mi otra pregunta es si entiendes que el ganador de esta pelea, porque tú señalas que esta pelea te podría poner a las puertas de un título, pero para Pedraza es prácticamente igual. Tú lo conoces hace muchos años. ¿Cómo has visto su evolución y cuán importante es este combate para los dos?
This is a fight that will get both the winner closer to a world title opportunity. You know him for a long time. You have seen his evolution. How important is this fight for both of you?
No, pues sí, los dos estamos en posiciones similares. No podemos tomar otra derrota en nuestro récord, pero siento que en esta pelea el ganador va a ser el que es más inteligente, más preparado, y lo vamos a enseñar. Los dos lo queremos, pero al final el ganador va a ser el que está más preparado para esta pelea, y siento que nosotros vamos a estar más preparados.
I feel like we're in a similar position. None of us can take another loss in our record. I feel like the fighter that's going to win this fight is the more intelligent and the better prepared. And I believe that's going to be me.
All right. As a reminder, everybody, if you'd like to ask a question, please use the raise hand button on your Zoom, or if you cannot find it, again, you can message me directly in the chat. So I'm just going to wait around for 1 second. I got a couple more questions for Javier, and then we will get to Jose, who has just arrived. Hold on 1 second. Jeremy Herridges, I've asked you to unmute, so when you are ready, please go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you, Javier, for taking the time. You talked about lifestyle changes. Was that purely diet? Was it diet and exercise? Can you go a little bit more in depth with that?
No, it was beyond that. I went through a phase, my life, where I was just, I had checked out. Even though I'd be in the gym, like in my head, I wasn't there. I was just partying the whole time. A lot of drinking, so it was just a different lifestyle I was living. And that's why I was fighting at that weight. That's why I even look back at some of my fights and I'm like, man, like even the way I was fighting, I felt like I just kept, instead of bettering, I kept going. I felt like every fight I was looking worse. Like it was just, in my head, it just wasn't in it, and it was showing in my fights. I would be getting tired. Even the first fight that I lost, which was my 10th, 11th fight. I think I was tired like in the second, third round. It was just a completely different lifestyle that I was living. But because before that, it was the complete opposite. When I made the Olympic team, I was fully dedicated like I am now. And that's why I was the youngest member of the 2008 Olympic team. I was only 17 years old. I was going into the nationals. Nobody even thought that I would even go to Olympic trials. I ended up winning the whole thing. I fought in the Olympic trials. I beat everybody. Beat Danny Garcia in the Olympic trials in the finals to make the Olympic team. But I just after I came back after the Olympic Games, I felt like I took the loss pretty hard, and my career just kind of went a different route. I was like I said, I had discipline issues. I was partying too much, and it showed. I feel like that's why you see that I never fought for a world title. You see PEDRZAZA, we both went to the same Olympics, but he was more disciplined. Obviously, he was a 2-time world champ. But if he thinks, if their team or anybody thinks that he has me outgunned this weekend, then they're gonna be in for a surprise. I have a lot in my resume. Obviously, I haven't fought for those world titles or won those world titles, but me and my team know why. And right now that we're on track, we have everything where we want. I'm back with my old coach. I mean, I feel like everything is where it needs to be, and it's the right time. I feel like I'm peaking. Even those losses I took, I never took any punishment. In those 2 losses, I felt like I never really been hit. I haven't taken any punishment in this sport. I feel like I'm fresh. I'm in my prime, so I feel like right now is the right time to be fighting for these world titles and the elite and against these elite fighters.
Has there ever been a moment where you felt temptation to fall back into bad habits, or is being prosperous in the ring kind of canceled out any temptation?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in the beginning was a little harder, but once I started getting the ball rolling and I started getting these fights, I started getting opportunities, and then with my family, I have a lot of support from my girlfriend, my parents, my brothers, my coach, everybody that sacrifices so much for me. They were there with me even when I wasn't fighting. They always believed in me, and that's part of the reason why I feel like I'm here today. I feel like if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't even be fighting anymore. But they believe in me just as much as I believe in myself. So that's why I was able to move forward. I went through a lot. I struggled a lot in those times. I wasn't making any money, so I had a lot of support from them. I had bills I needed to pay, and they helped me out a lot. So I was able to get through that. And I'm here now. So I'm not just doing this for myself. This is bigger than me. I have a lot of people who helped me, and I'm here to show them that everything they did for me is gonna be all well worth it.
Thank you very much. We got time for one more question with Javier, because we got to get to Jose. So Crystal, I've unmuted you, or I've asked to unmute you. So please be up when you're unmuted. Ask a question to Javier, and then we'll get to Jose.
Hey, Javier, almost everything's been asked, but I did want to ask you, Jose PEDRZAZA, it says his stance ambidextrous. What does that mean to you, and how did you prepare for this type of style?
Yeah, we've seen that he likes to switch a lot, but he has similar rhythms in both orthodox and southpaw. But we set it on both sides, so whatever he wants to do, without giving too much away from our game plan, I feel like we got answers for anything he does. He has patterns in his rhythms that we're gonna take advantage of. So we're ready and we're excited to put on the show.
Thank you, Crystal, and thank you so much, Javier. If there's anything else, anything in closing you'd like to say before you go, please go ahead.
I just want to thank everybody for having me. You're gonna see come Saturday night. If you guys don't have me as the winner, I'm gonna surprise a lot of you guys. But it's gonna be a good fight, a good tactical fight. He's a good fighter. My hats off to him. He's a 2-time world champ, and I'm excited to share the ring with them and put on the show.
Well, thank you, Javier. Go rest for tomorrow's weigh-in. You got 23 and a half hours, and we will see you then. All right, champ?
All right, thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
And before we get to Jose PEDRZAZA, who is sitting down as we speak, you can either use the raise hand mechanism or just shoot me a private message in the chat, and we'll get to as many questions as possible. So it looks like we have the former 2-weight world champion, Jose PEDRZAZA, with us. We have Gardy Lopez, who will translate all the questions for Jose. Gardy, you are unmuted. So Jose, before we get started with the questions, this is only a little more than 2 months since your last fight, which is a very quick turnaround. How has that quick turnaround helped you stay sharp and stay ready for this challenge against Javier Molina?
Este combate que vas a hacer este sábado es bastante rápido luego del que tuviste el pasado julio. ¿Cómo te sientes de volver tan rápido al ring y cómo te has mantenido en forma?
Bueno, primero que todo, gracias a todos ustedes por estar aquí. Saludos a todos. Así que, mira, fue una pelea rápida, pero nosotros nos mantuvimos enfocados y entrenando para este combate, ya que se había dicho desde mayo. Me interesaba mucho esta pelea y nos mantuvimos enfocados.
First of all, hello to everyone. This has been a quick turnaround. But I have been training this whole time. And this was a fight that I was very interested before. We were supposed to fight back in May before the pandemic happened. So Molina is a name that I have had in my mind for a long time, and we're ready for this Saturday.
All right, we'll kick things off with Carlos Narvaez. Carlos, please go ahead when ready.
Saludos a todos. Hi, everybody. Saludos, José. Qué bueno saludarte. Un combate interesante, un rival que lograste ver en los Juegos Olímpicos de Beijing en el 2008. Háblame cómo te has preparado para este rival y la importancia para ti de cara a este combate, que obviamente sabemos que se trata de una pelea que pudiera desencadenar muchas peleas más en las 140 libras y futuramente para un título mundial.
This is a fight that is very important for both guys, because this is a fight that could end up in the winner having a world title opportunity. You have known him for a very long time because you were in the same Olympic Games. How do you feel about this fight?
Pues mira, me siento muy bien de tener este combate, ya que hay que subir el nivel. Ya estoy por pelear con la élite, con los grandes boxeadores de la división. Así que lo que resta es entrenar duro y que llegue el día de la pelea.
I feel great in this division. I feel great in this fight. You know, I'm ready to face all the elite fighters at 140. I have been training very hard, and the only thing left is for the fight day to arrive.
José, Molina comentó hace un minuto de que va a ser una pelea técnico-táctica. ¿Tú piensas lo mismo?
Molina mentioned a little while ago that this was going to be a tactical fight. Do you think the same?
Sí, pienso igual. La única diferencia es que pienso yo que soy el que va a poner un poco más presión, pero somos dos boxeadores técnicos, estilistas, así que la pelea va a ser más bien técnica táctica, como dijiste, pero yo voy a ir a buscar la pelea, obviamente con mucha precaución.
Yes, I believe this is going to be a tactical fight. I'm thinking of putting a lot of pressure on him at the same time, you know, with a lot of precaution, doing the right fight. But we're both very skilled fighters, very skilled boxers, stylists, and like you mentioned, it's going to be a tactical fight. But I'm going to apply pressure at the same time.
And next up, we have Ricardo Torres from Telemundo. Ricardo, please go ahead.
Thank you. Gordo, saludos. Él señalaba hace un rato que él se ha sentido menospreciado y que incluso en esta pelea él no se considera el favorito, pero que él viene bajando de 47, que está mucho más disciplinado y que 40 es su división. ¿Qué te parece ese tipo de argumento que él hace?
He mentioned just a minute ago that you know, he feels like he's on the underdog. He's coming now down from 147. He feels strong in this division. What do you think about that? This kind of argument from him?
De mi parte, nunca lo hemos menospreciado. Sé que es un boxeador muy bueno, con muchas habilidades. Y sí, mira, él es el natural en la división. Yo vengo subiendo. Tengo que adaptarme más a la división, pero definitivamente estoy un poco más adaptado a la división. Me he preparado muy bien para este combate, en todo el sentido. Físicamente, mentalmente, espiritualmente, en todo me he preparado, ya que pues, no tengo un oponente fácil.
Yeah, at least from my end, I have never overlooked him. I know he's a great fighter. He's a skilled fighter. And with that in mind, I have prepared myself, you know, physically, mentally, spiritually, because I know that I have a tough opponent in front of me. So yeah, I have never overlooked him. I know he believes he's the underdog, but I know he's a great fighter that I'm going to be facing on Saturday.
Y otra pregunta, él dijo también que te conoce de 2007, desde el Mundial en Chicago, que fue obviamente antes de la Olimpiada. ¿Cuánto han cambiado ustedes? ¿Cuánto sientes tú que han evolucionado ambos, principalmente tú como peleador? ¿Cuán diferentes se pueden ver a cómo era cuando se conocieron?
He mentioned that you guys met back in 2007 in the World Cup, World Championship in Chicago. Way before the Olympic Games. How much do you think that you have evolved as fighters, you principal, from that 2010, those times in the 2007 to now?
Bueno, yo no tuve la oportunidad sí nos cruzamos en varios torneos internacionales, como dijiste, en el 2007 y en el 2008 en la Olimpiada. No tuve la oportunidad de verlo pelear en esa faceta como aficionado. No tuve la dicha, ¿verdad? Para contestarte la pregunta del cambio. Pero estoy seguro de que ambos hemos cambiado, hemos progresado mucho en esta etapa de boxeo, ¿verdad? Y de eso se trata, progresar poco a poco y llegar hasta donde estamos.
We crossed paths, but never really fought. We never shared the ring. I never got to see him fight as an amateur, so I can answer the question of how much has we evolved. But I'm sure that we both have evolved a lot. You know, he's like I mentioned, he's a great fighter. And so am I. So yeah, I believe that we have evolved and progressed a lot since 2007.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. And now we go ahead to Ernesto Amador, who is ready to go. Ernesto, please go ahead.
Thank you, Evan. Sniper, un placer saludarte siempre. Quiero preguntarte lo siguiente. Esta pelea sin duda es muy importante porque en la 140 te puede llevar a rivalidades de ensueño con mexicanos. Y la verdad que menciono nombres como José Carlos Ramírez, el mismo Chon Cepeda, Pablo César Cano. ¿Qué significa esta pelea? Insisto, que te puede llevar a revivir mucho la rivalidad México-Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico-México.
What does this fight mean to you, knowing that a big win on Saturday will put you in great position to move up and get closer to a world title opportunity and maybe face some Mexican contenders that are around the division? How do you feel about reviving the rivalry between Mexico and Puerto Rico?
Mira, pues me siento muy bien en esta división, ya que hay grandes oponentes o rivales mexicanos, que siempre existe la rivalidad de Puerto Rico y México, así que me siento bien. Siempre la rivalidad México y Puerto Rico se han dado unos grandes combates y estoy seguro pues que las peleas que yo haga contra los mexicanos va a ser igual, un gran espectáculo para el fanático. Y mira, seguir trabajando. Los más que me interesan en esta división es Ramírez, obviamente los dos campeones, Ramírez, Taylor, y obviamente una revancha con Cepeda, si es posible.
I feel great in this division. You know, I know there's a lot of great champions, great contenders around the division, some great Mexican fighters. And, you know, there's always a big show whenever a Mexican and a Puerto Rican share the ring. So yeah, I'm very excited to get to those fights. This Saturday I have a Mexican and American fighter in front of me. And right now I'm looking at that fight right now, but the other names that I'm looking at the division are Jose Ramirez, both champions, Josh Taylor, and the other one is Jose Cepeda. If possible, I would like a rematch against him.
José, y bueno, tu rival Molina dice que va a hacer honor a como le dicen. A él le dice el intocable y dice que la noche de la pelea va a ser intocable. ¿Será posible?
Molina mentions that his nickname, he's going to be untouchable. What do you think about that? Do you think he's going to be untouchable on Saturday?
Definitivamente va a ser una pelea entre el intocable y el sniper. Así que el sniper viene bien enfocado, con muy buena puntería, para quitar el nombre del intocable.
This is going to be a great fight between the sniper and the untouchable. He has to know that the sniper is coming with a lot of precision just to erase the name of the untouchable.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. And now we go over to Carlos Toro. You should be unmuted. Carlos, please go ahead.
Hi, Jose. Thanks so much for taking time to talk to us. You know, before the fight against Mick Lepierre, you were out of the ring for almost a year, and now you're back in your second fight in 2 months. How important was it for you to sort of stay active, especially during these uncertain times? And just just how are you feeling physically coming out of a 10-rounder against Mick Lepierre and then coming back 2 months later?
En estos tiempos de pandemia, ¿te has mantenido bastante activo? Esta es tu segunda pelea, tuviste una pelea 10 rounds en julio contra Lepierre, ahora vienes a esta pelea con Molina. ¿Cómo te sientes de estar activo durante estos tiempos?
Bueno, pues me siento muy bien, me siento, eso era lo que queríamos, estar más activo en mi carrera, ya que anteriormente pues no pudimos estar muy activos. Mi carrera era para estar más adelantada y eso es lo que queremos, estar bien activos para seguir buscando el sueño que es el tercer título en mi tercera división.
I feel great, fighting so active, fighting so close to one fight from another. I love the activity. That's the way I like it. Before I couldn't do that, but now that I'm with Top Rank, I'm being way more active. And that's gonna make me closer. That's gonna make me look better. It's gonna make me get a world title opportunity. And that's the dream I'm chasing. I want to become a world champion at 140, so I can join the club of 3-division world champions from Puerto Rico.
You mentioned, being in your third weight class. I mean, how different does it feel now, sort of making weight and the preparations to get to 140 pounds compared to when you were fighting at 135 and 130 pounds when you did win world titles at those classes?
Como mencionaste, esta es tu tercera división. ¿Cómo te sientes para estas preparaciones? A diferencia de cuando te preparabas para las 30 o 35, esas divisiones donde llegaste a ganar títulos mundiales.
Pues mira, me he preparado muy bien, definitivamente. Como en las 2 divisiones anteriores, simplemente pues que he incorporado otras cosas, como el ciclismo, la natación, mucho pues masaje, mucha terapia, ¿verdad? Simplemente más vida sana.
My preparation for this division has basically been the same. I have added a couple of other things. I have added cycling. I have added swimming. A little bit more massages just to recover. So yeah, I'm also living a little bit more a healthier life.
Thank you, Carlos. Next we go to Jeremy Herges. Jeremy, please go ahead when ready.
Hi, Jose. You talked about the growth and development of your boxing game. Kind of reviewing your last fight, what do you specifically see yourself improving on skill-wise?
Hablas de que cada combate mejoras tu destreza. Viendo en tu última pelea, ¿cuáles fueron las cosas que más mejoraste en tus habilidades para este combate?
Estar más activo dentro del ring. O sea, creo que en la pelea pues tuve lo que llaman, por decirlo así, un estilo paqueado, que mucho brinco, mucha cintura. Estuve más activo dentro del ring, y creo que eso fue una clave importante, ya que el Spear pues no podía descifrarme.
Something that I worked for the last fight and for this fight is to be more active in the ring, just to call it away, just like a Manny Pacquiao kind of style of fight, moving around and jumping, a lot of moving the head. So, since Lepierre was a little bit more flat-footed, he never was able to decipher what I was going to do next in the ring.
You're both about the same age. However, you have almost 100 more rounds of professional experience than Javier does. How much of an edge does that give you having that added experience?
Tienen más o menos el mismo récord, la misma edad, bastante parecido, pero tú tienes muchos más asaltos de experiencia en el ring. ¿Cuánta ventaja piensas tú que te da esa experiencia que tienes sobre él?
Mira, en mi carrera me he dado cuenta que la experiencia de round no importa mucho. Lo que importa mucho es la dedicación que tú le pongas, ¿verdad? La dedicación, el talento, las habilidades, importa mucho. La edad y la cantidad de rounds pues no son de mucha importancia, simplemente pues sí, te puede dar más condición, ¿verdad? Mucha condición en la cantidad de rounds. Pero lo más importante es que yo sí he hecho muchos rounds en los entrenamientos, he entrenado muy fuerte y nada, seguir enfocado para esa pelea.
In my career, I've learned that doing a lot of rounds in fights is not as important as the skills and the way you prepare. I have done a lot of rounds in sparring, a lot of rounds in fights, so I have that edging experience. But at the end of the day, I really believe the preparation is what's going to give the advantage to each fighter.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Before we go, Jose, any final words you would like to say as we head into Saturday night?
¿Algunas palabras finales que quieras decir antes de la pelea del sábado?
Mira, que no se pierdan este gran cartel. Va a ser un cartel bien interesante. Un cartel donde pues estarían peleando México contra Puerto Rico. La rivalidad, ¿verdad? Así que no se pierdan ese gran cartel para que sigan disfrutando de un gran cartel.
I want to tell the fans that don't miss this fight. It's going to be a great fight between Mexico and Puerto Rico. The great rivalry once again. And I'm sure it's going to be a great fight, so don't miss it.
Thank you so much, Jose, for joining us today. And as a reminder to everybody, 9-fight card scheduled. Action kicks off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific on ESPN+. We're going to go straight through. In addition to Efe Ajagba in the co-main and PEDRZAZA Molina in the main event, we got Robesi Ramirez against Jose's countryman, Felix Caraballo. We have undefeated prospects Leo Ruiz, Brian Lua, Christian Montano all in action. And another undefeated Puerto Rican Rico, Fabian Gonzalez, who fought in the bubble a couple of months back. He'll be back in action. And then last but not least, a pair of 17-year-old prospects who were just recently signed by Top Rank, Jahi Tucker from Deer Park, New York on Long Island, and Kasir Mazzi Goldston, who's from Albany, New York. They are both welterweights, and they will see action in separate 4-rounders. So a lot of great young talent on the card before we get into the contenders in the co-main and main event. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here today, and we will see you all Saturday night. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, that was the press conference for PEDRZAZA versus Molina. That should be a good scrap. I'd forgotten that was at 140. So that should be a good scrap. There's a lot of fighting just coming up. There's a lot of fights on this week. Obviously, all the press conferences we did today on the channel, Lubin, Gachet, and that ESPN card, PEDRZAZA versus Molina. They're all good fights. But then leads into next Saturday, which is incredible. Expensive as well, but definitely incredible with the Charlo double pay-per-view, 6 fights in total. Big Charlo Jamal facing Sergey Devinchenko. It's actually Israel. Like, that's how you pronounce it, Sergey. Sergey Devinchenko gave Triple G. I actually happen to be wearing my Triple G shirt. I had to kind of hide it on the screen just in case, because I didn't realize, I forgot all this stuff was happening today. But yeah, Sergey Devinchenko gave Triple G all he could handle that time. And supposedly Triple G was sick, but Sergey has improved since, you know, fighting Jacobs, which he lost to. But that's going to be a good fight. Jamal kept calling it. Well, he was saying that critics were calling it his biggest test, which probably, I mean, probably is. And then Jermell, 154, unification for 3 of the belts against Jason Rosario, or Jason, something like that, because it's spelled with the G-E-I son. But man, that's a good fight. There's unification fight. I want to say there's a few. Roman, 122-pound Roman. What's his name? Danny Roman. Danny Roman's fighting on it. There's a few different fights. I need to really kind of research that card. But that's a big Charlo pay-per-view, $74.99. What do you guys think about that price tag? And then there is the UFC pay-per-view, Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Acosta. Another great fight. I don't know what's really on the undercard of that one. But damn, some big-ass fights coming up. It's good to have fighting back on the schedule and being able to cover that stuff. I'm so happy I figured out this press conference thing for you guys. So for sure on Saturday, I will have the post-fight for Lubin and Gaché. So whatever happens with that, tune in here. We'll get that to you guys live. Bring your guys questions for that fight as well, because I'll put them on the screen, and then I'll try to ask them as well. So yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. We got a lot of things. I got a lot of things in the work. I'm sorry, a lot of videos haven't been coming out recently, but I'm trying to kind of revamp the channel, do KO Artist Sports 2.0, kind of coming out of this pandemic. So it should be good. I hope you guys stick around and kind of see the improvements. It's going to be good stuff. But again, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for being patient with me with this press conference stuff. We got it together finally. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And hopefully you guys enjoy the fights. Enjoy the fights this weekend. I will see you on Saturday night after the Lubin Gaché fight, and we'll have the press conference live here. Put your questions in the comments, and I'll do my best to ask these guys. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that fight. That's another good fight. The 154-pound division is incredible. I love the 154-pound division. You probably have to put Jermell at the top of it, I would say, just because he has wins over, with Harrison, the KO win over Harrison, KO win over Lubin. He probably is making his best argument for the best 154-pounder. But there's Jared Hurd. Jared Hurd's a big guy. He really should move up to 160. He's a really big guy. And I haven't even heard much from Hurd. So, I hope he's training and keeping his weight down and stuff with what's going on, obviously with the pandemic and everything. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But Lubin Gaché is a good fight. Lada's obviously still in there. He just fought a couple of weeks ago. You notice I was talking to someone the other day, and Canelo fought Lada, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. And people still avoid Lada. People are not fucking with Lada. That tells you something, and he's still pretty good. So we'll see what happens with the 154-pound division. Luckily for us, a lot of those guys are PBC, so they can fight each other during this time. They don't have to worry about a crowd to kind of make more money, to make it more, appetizing for everybody. But that's going to be that's going to be fun to see how those guys shake out, which guys end up at 160. That's going to be real fun. It's going to be real fun to see that. I might do like a countdown show to this weekend's fights, maybe tomorrow or something. Tell me if you guys are feeling that. But I appreciate you guys all watching. Thank you so much. And we'll catch you next time.